In this question, it says a rectangular solid has a width, or depth, that is twice its height, and a length that is 4 times its height. A diagonal of this solid measures 84 units. We want to determine the numeric volume of this rectangular solid. So we have the height, but then its depth is twice as long, and then its length is 4 times as long. So what we have is we have a box, and here's what it looks like. And so let's call this h for the height. That means this is going to be 2h, and this is going to be 4h. Now the diagonal, let's draw in the other 3 sides. The diagonal is the length from one corner all the way to the opposite corner, and we know that this is 84 units. Now how do we figure this out? Well, the way you figure this out is you treat this as part of a right triangle, where you have this as one side and that's one side, because you know that those are perpendicular. Well, we know that this is h, but we don't know what this is. So what we have to do is we have to first figure out what this is. How do we do that? Well, this side, even though it's part of the triangle in red, it's also part of another right triangle, this one right here, on the base, lying flat, because this is also a right angle. So that right triangle looks like this, 2h, 4h, and we'll call that C. All right, so that means we have 2h quantity squared plus 4h quantity squared equals c squared. And what we're going to do is we're going to find c in terms of h. So we have 4h squared plus 16h squared equals c squared. So then that gives us 20h squared equals c squared. And actually we're going to leave it like this because we're actually going to be using Pythagorean Theorem anyway. So what we can do now is we can go back up and reference this other right triangle, the one in red. Now we know that this is h, this is 84, and this is square root of 20h squared. And so if we apply the Pythagorean theorem, then we have h squared plus this quantity squared, so the radical goes away, 20h squared equals 84 squared. So when we combine these, we get 21h squared equals 84 squared. That's a big number. Let's reach for our calculator. 84 squared is 7,056, and then we're going to divide by 21. So h squared is 336. So when we take the square root of that, there is our answer. Now, unfortunately, we want this in exact form. So let's see, square root of 336. So 336 is not a perfect square, so we're going to have to break that down. So let's see, what can we divide out? We can divide out 4. Yep. Can we divide out 4 again? Yep. So we have 4 times 21. Okay. Whoops. Let's bring this down. So now, if I take a 4 out, that becomes 2. Take a 4 out, that becomes 2. So we have 4 radical 21 is what h is equal to. Now, the problem is this is not our answer, because the original problem says find the volume. Well, in any box, the volume is the 3 dimensions multiplied together. So the volume is going to equal the height times the depth, which is 2h, times the length, which is 4h. So we have 8h cubed, and we want the exact volume. So to do that, let's remind ourselves that h is exactly 4 radical 21. So that means we have 8 times 4 square root of 21 cubed. All right. So 8 times, let's see, 4 cubed, that's going to be 64 square root of 21 times square root of 21 times square root of 21 because that's cubed. So these two combine. So we got 864 times 21. And we still have one radical 21 left over. So to get this in final simplest form, we need to multiply 8 times 64 times 21. And when we do that, we get 10,752 radical 21. And so there is our answer. And we're done.